Welcome back to Inclusion Revolution. And again, we're being visited by Brian Aird, the Executive Director of Entrepreneurs with Disabilities Network. And Brian and I were just discussing what I believe is a really important evolution in services for people with disabilities. And it's what we call a continuum of service. And what I mean by that is that we don't just start someone off and give them a hand at the beginning, but we also continue to support them whether they go to work or, in this case, to start a business. So Brian, tell me something new that's happening at Entrepreneurs with Disabilities Network that really expresses that continuum of service that I know and you know is so important.
Well, with entrepreneurship, we realize a lot of entrepreneurs don't tell anyone. When things are going bad for their business, they don't let anyone know. When things are going well, they let the whole world know. When
Sounds like gamblers.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. But anyway, so they don't. So what we've done is we have a new position starting in another month, a little bit less than a month. It's going to be so cool. We have an entrepreneur peer advocate. So we've hired a person who has amazing experience with small business and business in general. This person is going to be traveling around our province in Nova Scotia, meeting entrepreneurs with disabilities who are in a business right now, talking to them, what are their obstacles that they're facing right now. Because also another problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have is identifying their obstacle. They're not always sure they think what the obstacle isn't always what the obstacle is.
So this entrepreneurial peer advocate is going to reach out to employers who've already, business owners who've already started these businesses and make sure that the questions they're having, the things they could have never imagined they're facing, and he's going to have all these he or she is going to have all these resources available. In addition, I know he's going to also get information, because I know your group is really interested in seeing who's succeeding, who's not, and why.
And the why is a key thing.
The why is that, and that's the ultimate.
And why not?
In an inclusion revolution.
Absolutely.
Looking forward and getting this information. And I really want to thank you for your time, Brian. I always find we never have enough time for interesting guests like you.
I love being here.
Always promise all of our listeners that depending on time we might be able to bring Brian back, but I encourage you to go to the inclusionrevolution.com website to ask questions, to get more information on entrepreneurship. Also, what's the EDN website?
www.ednns.ca.
www.edn.ns.
No
dots.
Five
I made
letters.
it worse.
Yeah, 5 letters, ednns.ca. And we'll connect you with other people across the country.
So it sounds like a great resource for you to start with. And for now, I just want to thank Brian Aird and all of you for listening. We're going to come back with a little bit of our weekly news, medical breakthroughs, as well as I would like to read you our weekly poll. Remember, come to inclusionrevolution.com to give us your opinion on this question. Should there be a central database which would allow health providers access to patients' complete information? So we're looking forward to hearing from you with your opinion on the weekly poll. Just go to inclusionrevolution.com and give us your opinion and take a look around at some of the information. Speaking of information, Paul has rejoined me. Hi, Paul. Nice to see you again.
Hello, Tova.
And Paul's brought us some cutting-edge news that have to do with, I know, mental health issues and mental health medications. So, Paul, what have you got for us? What's the latest?
The latest is, according to the New England Journal of Medicine, that the latest generation of antipsychotic medications, which are used to treat schizophrenia and bipolar, doubles the risk of sudden cardiac arrest.
Wow.
So older medications, they knew that the risks were involved in patients that needed to take various forms of substances and drugs prescribed by their doctor. But what they didn't know was that the newer generation that they developed also provides the same risk.
So in other words, the assumption, which was always that this new generation of drugs for people living with both bipolar and schizophrenia were supposed to have a much lower risk of heart disease than the original group, and now what we're finding out is basically not good news.
Exactly. The study is the largest to date, and it was done through the Vanderbilt University School of Medicine and Geriatric Research, Education and Clinic Center in Nashville, and they studied 280,000 people.
So that's a great sample.
This is a great sample. They looked at a good sample, about half of the patients that were on the medication, half of them were not, and they actually looked at the younger as well as the elderly, because the previous studies had simply looked at the elderly patients taking the medications. So now they've involved a whole generation of newer patients, younger patients, ranging from age from 30 right up to 70, and they've found the same results, that the risks are exactly the same.
So this really, it just reconfirms what many people with mental health disabilities know, and their family and their caregivers and their doctors, which is the medications at their best are often imperfect, and it's really a balance of what the medications do for you versus what the side effects are. And I also know that I recently understood that with those types of drugs as well, once you've gone off them once, they never work as effectively again. And it's so difficult, I know, to talk to clients about the fact that going off those medications once means when you go back on, they're not going to be as effective. Twice, even less effective, and so on. So again, what we're finding is these sort of antipsychotic drugs, or these drugs that are really focused on bipolar and schizophrenic patients, have a lot of imperfections, but ultimately sometimes the flip side is the requirement is necessary. And we know that with pharmaceuticals, everything has a side effect. It's about the balance.
Right.
So what I guess I want to do is also talk a little bit about what's coming up, because I know we're running out of time today. And I really appreciate your news. And there's going to be more super relevant and important Inclusion Revolution news on our website, because we don't always have time on the show to get into all the news that we want to share with you. So do go to the website. And what is our next episode going to be, Paul?
Our next episode will be Where Are the Men?
Okay. I'm choking here. Where are the men?
Really, the lack of men within the social services industry.
Okay, because I was wondering where the men were, but clearly we're talking about something different. This particular issue that we're going to be sharing with you, the viewer, is all about the fact that we want to find out why men aren't doing in social services what women are doing. But that's it for today. The Inclusion Revolution continues. Check out the website on inclusionrevolution.com. We look forward to seeing you. For Paul and Tova, don't forget there's a revolution. It's an inclusion revolution, and we want you to be part of it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.